guess the beginning of the simulation technology here in Florida began with the Navy moving down here in 1965 into some old World War II buildings, what's now Baldwin Park. The buildings were horrible. There was no air conditioning. There was grass growing inside. We had to call the landscape people to come in the building to get rid of the grass and everything like that. So it was very, very primitive. And actually, the first ITSEC, the industry conference, was held in Baldwin Park in an old auditorium that the Air Force ran. There was about 100 people or so that attended.
Now, to be clear, there are now 20,000 people who attend.
Exactly.
Can you give me a vibe of those first couple of ITSECs when you were there? What did anyone know what it was going to become? Was it just like, let's get people together and with like white papers and talk about what's going on? I mean, because this is right also when the space program, a lot of like innovation was starting at that time.
Exactly. Things were just in their embryo stage at the time. And there was a big thing about the military-industrial complex. It was a bad term. People felt, the general public and the media felt that industry was too close to the government and vice versa. So Dr. Wolf, who was the technical director at the time, said, I don't think so. He said, we've got to do something here to improve our performance in delivering simulation systems. He said, I'm going to bring in some leaders of industry and let's talk about some of the issues that are facing them so we can work together. You know, at the time, that was unheard of. So Dr. Wolf went out and invited several companies, and I believe there are like maybe 50 companies that actually attended the first conference, plus all of the people that could attend from the Navy and the Army, by the way, attended that. They were the leaders. There were only several papers. Everything was in serial fashion. There was no breakout or anything like that. And the only hint of any commercialization at the time was one of our employees had a grove out in Claremont, and he brought some oranges in, and he was selling them in the back of the conference area, which didn't go over very well with Dr. Wolf, but that's a whole other story in itself. But the whole idea of the first conference was to exchange ideas, identify some of the roadblocks that each were experiencing, and try to work together in doing that. And that was the very first one.